guys, how's it going? Ronan here with the Northern family, and today we've got a little something special. We are doing a little bit of recruiting, advertising, whatever you want to call it, and we have a special guest with us today. It is the leader of Dragons of the North, Whoo. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome. How's it going?
It's going very well, thank you.
Well, firstly, before we get started, I would like to congratulate you on reaching number one for the first time today. Great achievement.
Yeah, it was a massive effort by the Dragons players and something we have been working towards for a very long time.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I've been with you all the way with it. It's been a great experience, really. We've had great chemistry. We've worked together well. And it's been greatly rewarded, you could say, with reaching the maximum milestone, and that's hitting that number one. It's a great milestone. It's not easy. Being with Wolves when we did it. Now we're trying to maintain it, and I guess that would be your next goal now. Really, is just maintaining it and moving to that next step, and just being really part of the elite, you could say.
I definitely agree with that. As part of our progression through the time since March when we were at 287, we've been able to break into the top 100 in May, then into the top 50 in June and July. We got into the top 10 at number 3, and now in August we're at number 1. We understand that positions like this change and vary, and I'm always encouraging my players to also acknowledge their skills and efforts, and that we plateau. You need to do that, Ronan. We're still growing, and that's what's probably the most exciting thing about Dragons.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's great. It's just a great all-round achievement for the Northern family. Obviously King of the North has been one of the elite alliances in the last 3 years, and they've pretty much held their own for 3 years. And then, last year Wolves come along and, got their teeth in the mix. And then obviously we created Dragons. God, I can't even remember now when I created the original Dragons Alliance, but it wasn't that long ago. It was under a year, you could say. So, to already have achieved a third alliance in such a short period of time, hitting number one, is definitely a great feat for the Northern family. And we still got to remember we've got the Warriors that are still in the top 100, and they're sort of closing in now. That's their next goal. And obviously we've got smaller alliances in the top 500 trying to be the next top 100 alliance, and who knows, it's an endless sort of, how do you say, it's I don't know, it's just a great achievement. It's great satisfaction to reach the highest milestone whilst playing a game. It's a game we all invest in, so
Yeah, look, I definitely agree with that, and it's only been really possible through the support and encouragement of the Northern family alliances. All players have appreciated the support that's been given through our different chats, and the opportunity to even be part of this family came to me probably less than 12 months ago, and I have been able to grow, and in that process I've been able to make some incredibly good decisions based on really brilliant advice and guidance from so much experience within the family. And I'm in awe of just how much Dragons has developed, and I put that down to not just the leadership of Dragons but also the incredible leadership of the family.
And yeah, you saying that, it's actually funny because, so just for everyone out there, I originally recruited Whoo into Wolves. Like you said, approximately around a year ago now. I'd say it's been a good 11 months, maybe even a year. And, you was one of those that I brought in to try and obviously help Wolves succeed, and then we sort of really grew fast as far as the other alliances. You know, we sort of really went from 5 to 10 pretty, I would say, in a 4-month period of time. So obviously a lot of us spread out, and you had a few ventures elsewhere. I think you visited all the alliances at some point, right?
Look, I came to Wolves and I was underdone, and you were so gracious to give me an opportunity. I was very grateful when you said, would you like to just try another alliance? And I was very happy with that, because I just didn't have a clue, and I really appreciated the opportunity to be part of a really strong alliance. I came from an alliance where I was a leader and I outgrew them. And that can happen. You can either outgrow your alliance or the alliance outgrows you. And so I did go to a few different other alliances, and then you asked me to come back to one particular alliance, and then just through general progression, I was able to obviously impress you enough that you made me a co-leader and then leader, and I have enjoyed it so very much. But most of all, I think I have to just say to you, Ronan, that I wouldn't have been where I am, and Dragons wouldn't be where they were if it hadn't been for you.
I appreciate that. And likewise, really, yeah, I saw a lot of potential in you. I saw a lot of character. Yes, you know, during your Wolves time, you definitely did struggle, but it wasn't a matter of, hey, just go away, you're no good. It was, you know, I saw a lot of good things about it, and that's what the Northern Family's about, is really about teaching and helping people grow. You know, not everyone knows it off the bat. At some point, we're all taught in life, and this is the same thing. And you know, one of the big things I'm proud of within the Northern community is it's something we really do pride ourselves in, is helping other players. You know, there's a lot of other alliances that are just quick to just move people on because they're just not good enough. And it's, you know, it's not because they're not good enough. It's just really because you just haven't put the time and effort into making them good enough.
I think that's where Dragons have been so successful, is that we do, as leadership, see potential of players, and because we have the opportunity to move players to alliances that might not be as competitive. I've had at least 5 of my players who have gone out. I've made the suggestion, go and build and come back, and they've come back and they're solid Dragons, and they have worked so hard to get back in. But it's not just for the benefit of the alliance, Ronan, it's also for their personal growth as well. So yeah, we 100% support any player that comes in to Dragons, and if there needs to be some time out to build, whether it's troops or roster, we provide that opportunity. And like, we've even got war support chat rooms now. If we have a player that is finding it a little bit tricky in war, and it's getting harder as we get higher up, and we're all realising this, we're developing the opportunity for players to get a guidance, and that's from you and Mad Dog and Filthy, you know, players that have had so much experience in war, and that's what we need. So we're at the pointy end now, we're plateauing again, and the plateau is for ourselves as players to become stronger and strategically smarter. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and you know, it's likewise for Wolves. I mean, we didn't just come from nowhere. King of the North helped us a great deal, and it's pretty much like a domino effect, you know. And while I'm on that, you know, I'd like to shout out Julia, the leader of King of the North, because she did help us a lot as Wolves were growing, especially with recruiting and just stuff like that. And it's just, like you say, you know, it is sort of a domino effect, and then once we got to where we needed to go, we helped you, and likewise you guys are helping, you know, the likes of Ravens and Wardens, and you know, and that's what's great about the family. You know, the competition is healthy, but you know, we're all competitive at the same time, but you know, we switch around alliances to fill needs. And you know, one of the hardest challenges, I must say, is recruiting. I think being a leader, and you could probably vouch for me when I say that, is probably the hardest challenge, and it's just keeping a 30-man roster and when you lose a player, just trying to bring someone in. And And that's definitely one of the big things being in a family helps with, for sure. We definitely got help from King of the North, and I know we've helped you over at Dragons, and Ravens have obviously taken help from you. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the recruiting side of the game?
I think with recruiting, I've been very fortunate to have players that come and they have people they know that want to come, and there's been links through that way, which has been supportive as well. We know that it is a tough gig to recruit people at a certain level, and I think that's probably one of the things about Dragons that makes it a bit unique, Ronan, is that we were way back, and if you were to look, there would be so many of our players that we have had in our Dragons and have let them go and build, and they've come back stronger. So a lot of our recruiting, we keep those players that are still needing that growth, and they grow and they come back. So that's where our core and our depth is. And recruiting other players that are of a high standard is just also such a bonus for the experience that those players bring into the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's definitely in fact, it's one of the biggest things I'm most proud about is the turnover. The turnover is very small in the Northern family, especially at Wolves. We haven't lost a member. I don't even remember the last player that wanted to leave. And to be honest, the guys that did leave came knocking 2 or 3 weeks later and said, hey, I made a mistake, can I come back? And that's definitely an achievement for all of leadership within the Northern family. It's just really how much work and effort we do put into it. A lot of the players do not see or aren't even aware of just how much work has gone into it. So yeah.
I think, Rodney, we also have to consider that real life issues come in, and I've had quite a few players that have said, look, I need to just step out, but I want to come back. And you try to allow that to happen as much as you can. But the focus for me as a leader in Dragons is to continually support my players and to provide them opportunities to achieve at the best they can. And so communication for me, Ronan, has always been the key. And I have chats with everyone, and it's my focus to keep the links and the connections up as regularly as I can. And so because of that, I have players that can say to me, look, I just need a break for a little while. And they know that they've got the support of the leadership. And, I wouldn't be where I was today as Dragons leader if I did not have such a brilliant leadership team that I have in Dragons.
Oh yeah, and on that note, we should really probably shout out a few of them leadership members because they have worked hard with you from day one, really.
Oh, absolutely. I've got players that have given their all and given their best. I've asked players to be co-leaders, and they've been a bit, have I really got the ability? And I go, we all have to start somewhere. We all have to learn. There's so many players that I could say thank you to, even the ones that aren't in Dragons anymore, to get us to this number one spot. Rebel of the North and Halsey and Plage, they've been amazing in what they've achieved with me. They've been really with me since the very beginning of my lead. And then, I've got some amazing players that I've recruited, Starry and T-Bone, and I've got players that I actually sent out and said, go and build, come back. They have, and now they're co-leaders as well. So, that's just amazing. Taco and a few others as well. It's just been an experience to have these players. I've got Gil, he's amazing as well. And Gil was really uncertain about even accepting it, and I said, no, you can do it. And one of the biggest things I said, Ronan, is you have everyone else to support you, and and we will always have your back. And all my players know that. I will always have their back.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a well-oiled machine. If you keep it oiled, it's going to constantly run. And that's really what you want from your co-leadership. You know, it's not all about stats and stuff like that. I mean, that is definitely a bonus. You know, you've got Plague as your stats man, we have Doom as our stats man, and you know, they play a big role in just keeping the numbers up there.
Yeah, that's 100. That is so true. Plage has been an outstanding addition to the leadership right from March. That's when we got together, and Halsey and Rebel. We've had a few others join. We've had Wolves players come down, and they've been able to give us support and guidance and advice. And I'll always acknowledge Mad Dog for any time he comes to have a visit at Dragons, for what he provides for us in the way of understanding wars. And we've got Jar, who's come along, and he's from Wolves as well. So we appreciate the opportunity to go between alliances. You've got 44 up there in Wolves, and he came to Dragons, and I was so proud that he was able to get into Wolves when he did. It's exciting.
Yeah. On that note, I've got to shout out Jar, to be honest, because he's been a great friend, great sort of personal friend in the game. Excuse me. We get along really well. Great guy, really loyal, really, you know, everything you want from a player, you know, is Jar in a nutshell, to be honest. So I just wanted to give him a shout out in between there. But moving along, so what's next? I mean, you've hit number one. What's next for Dragons? What's the next step?
Well, as I told you before, we are at a point with our war score of needing to improve that. I think the most exciting thing for anyone that's in Dragons and who knows our players and everything would be seeing that there is still so much growth, Ronan. We have still so much to build. And if we can hit in the top 10 and get Global 1, with how we are now, it's just going to be an intense, exciting ride for us to increase our war scores and to improve our troops and to create a greater depth in our roster and to become more war smart. So there's still a lot of growth for Dragons, and so the goal is to maintain stability within our alliance, keep our leadership strong, and each player to have their own personal goal.
Oh yeah, I can vouch for that. Even at Wolves, you know, as much as we've been steadily in that top 10 now for a few months, we're still so far behind some alliances. It's unbelievable. The growth is just non-stop. It really is. I mean, I've been playing for nearly 2 years now, and I'm still growing. I've still got troops going in the background, and you know, still looking for particular, you know, cards. I mean, it's just non-stop. And that's one of the reasons I love this game a lot, really, because there is no sort of finish line. I think as long as there's an interest and there's an enjoyment from it, there's something to do. There really is. But yeah, one of the biggest enjoyments is really you guys, to be honest. The reason I think I've lasted so long is just the great community, you know, meeting great people and the social aspects, especially this year with COVID. You know, we've been sort of restricted to, you know, social distancing and social speaking. So it's been an especially tough year. But, you know, you guys have sort of become family, like real family, like, you know, internet family. And it's great. I've met some great people, and I'm sure you have too.
Look, I 100% agree. I really believe I've made lifelong friends through this game. And I think the support in real life, look, I know I've spoken with people and they've appreciated what leadership does for them, and we appreciate what they do for us. And it goes beyond just the games sometimes. It's where you're there for people when it's a tough gig. And I've had many players that have had COVID really affect them, and they just know that we've got their back.
Yeah.
You know, and there's never a judgment call just after one bad Titan or one bad war, and it would take a lot for a player to believe that they have been left alone. We just don't do that. It's just not part of our game, and it's not part of the philosophy of Dragons, and definitely not part of the philosophy of the Northern family. Support is the key.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. I don't. Anyone that's left has been on their own accord. I don't recall us ever kicking anyone out unless it was fully deserved. But even then, I can't think back of anyone that has sort of been removed from the family, and that's another great sort of merit to really add to the family, to be honest.
I think that one of the key things as a leader for me has been being able to maintain communication with all the other leaders within the family. That's been really crucial for me getting support from them and me offering support and being able to be supportive. And so all the chat rooms that we have been incredibly good as well. And look, I just want to say one of the people that has inspired me is Sensor. Sensor Prophet. I've even quoted him in Dragon's chat because of some of the things that he said, and they're just so meaningful in aspects of life as well as the game.
Yeah, definitely. One of my biggest inspirations from day one was Julia. I spoke to her when I was nothing. I had no 5 stars complete or anything, and Julia was, obviously the leader of one of the best alliances in the game, and I thought, well, hey, let me just send her a message and see what the requirements are for the future, etc., etc. And she really did take the time to help me at that point, and I'll never forget that. And it's one of the reasons I, chose to join originally the family when I came in, and then obviously we grew from there, and but yeah, Sensor, I agree, he's always very helpful, always super knowledgeable. There's actually a lot, not as many talk now, but Epi has always helped me when I've asked. Very knowledgeable, he's very good at events, so yeah, definitely. And that's definitely one of the bonuses of being a part of the family. For anyone else watching, what does your family have to offer? Are they doing the same things? I originally came from the 7-Day family, and it was a great family there. Credit to them. I just sort of outgrew them at the time of where I was. But yeah, another great family. But hey, still no match in my opinion.
Yeah, look, one of the things I'd like to say, if we're using this to just put out to people that what it's like to be in a family, I think one of the biggest things that I would have appreciated when I first started out is to have access to the skills and the knowledge of people to not make the mistakes that I made back then. And so that's why whenever I get anybody recruiting or coming in, I really want them to have as much information as they can possibly need. And I think that is where a lot of people really appreciate having a mentor in this game.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I must admit, when I started the game, I was pretty knowledgeable from the start. I was watching videos before I even started playing the game, so I was lucky enough to sort of have a head start. But that's just my mentality in gaming. Normally when I pick a game, I research it pretty heavily prior. But there's a lot of players that do just jump on and just have no idea. And I know, one of the reasons I started YouTube and started doing these videos really is purely just to help. Just to show everyone out there what we're about. I do one-on-one videos, private videos to individuals that ask questions where it doesn't really need to be broadcasted out there. And yeah, obviously we use it for recruiting now, and for me it was a great tool. There's no gain from me. I'm not making any income from this or anything at all. It's just purely another tool to help. It's another a quick learner, you know, instead of writing messages and trying to sort of type a way of teaching. I figured it would be much better to just talk and show them at the same time, and it's definitely helped. I know a lot of players have appreciated some of the content, and yeah, I mean, definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's been a great ride, and I continue to grow and develop myself in my roster and my troops and my leading. And I think I just enjoy getting on every day and checking my messages and being able to play the game. I love it when players say they love playing war, and we can be competitive. So that's probably the aim for Dragons now, is to maintain a level where we can be competitive, but we have so much fun.
So, I mean, a video of mine being released without me slagging off SG is rare. So, going on to the war, I think it's everyone's love is war. But would you agree that these chests can be a little bit better?
Look, honestly, for me, I think the Titan chest, especially the loot there, yeah, we can always say, oh gosh, that wasn't really that great. But the thing for me, it's the win. It's the win. It's like with the war, it's the win. It's not actually even the loot for me anymore. I don't know if that is for a lot of other players. I know that we all try to get those 4-star ascension mats, and we try very hard to build those troops and the heroes. But for me, it's like when I do war, I always say to the team, it's for the alliance. It's the alliance points. And we have new strategies in place in war at the moment that are actually working for us. We have players that were losing a bit of mojo. So we've changed it now, and we've put in that we have players that just specifically clean. They can have 2 1-hits and then 4 cleans, and they're still able to get 200 points. And we are finding that everybody's on a more level playing field, and the pressure's not there as much, and people aren't coming as hard down upon themselves. They're being a bit kinder to themselves because they know that the pressure's not there. And I reinforce all the time that those resets are so crucial, and the people that can do those cleans and get those points are just as valuable. And so that's my biggest push at the moment, is to always maintain that equilibrium where people are not really seeing individual scores, but actually the whole alliance, because it's the win.
I'm glad you mentioned that, to be honest, because it is all about the win. At the end of the day, you can have 2 or 3 players hit 300, but if you lose, I mean, it really means nothing. There's just no reward for that 300. But if you do,
well, I agree. And one of the things was, I get people that they're feeling down about themselves, and I go, that's the last thing I want. So I had to be proactive. I had to think of something that would allow people to get back into the game and to get their mojo back and get their confidence back. And this has really worked. Another thing was that we had cleans that were taking 2 flags. One where we had 15 of them, and the PPF just dropped. So we thought, right, we need to do something about this. That's when we brought in the clean players as well. And from that, in the next war, we dropped from 15 to 5. And so obviously if you see the results that you're trying to achieve, you keep with that strategy. But the biggest thing as a leader and in leadership is to have the flexibility and the desire to make changes where they need it.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And I can't talk for the other alliances within the family, but I certainly can talk for Wolves and Dragons, because I do know just how important wars are, and I know me and you are very competitive leaders, and I've had a few guys saying you're a bit hard when it comes to wars, and it's just purely because a lot of it is common sense, and winning as a team, there really is no better feeling as a leader. You really do feel like you've succeeded when you've hit that point of taking a team that has no right of winning a certain war and coming out with the win. I know for experience when we were climbing up them that top 20 ladder, we were getting wars where we were just, everyone's was like, oh, well, this is a defeat. And we would bounce and win just through teamwork and communication. And we surprised many out there. And you guys are doing the same right now. And it's not about roster size. It's not about, it's about what you do with the knowledge. It's about how you work as a team. And that's, as I say, especially for Dragons and Wolves, it's something I'm super proud of, because we do take wars very seriously, I should say.
Yeah, I agree. The knowledge and skill that you develop only happens over time. And you really have to know your heroes. And for me personally, I've had a lot better wars in the last 3 or 4 wars because I'm getting mentored. I'm a leader of an alliance, but hey, I still need mentoring, and I've got someone that critiques all my wars. And I learn so much just from having discussions with the people that are doing that for me. And I take, it's just been crucial to changing my whole attitude to war and my game.
Yeah, definitely. And, for everyone out there watching it, if you are a hardcore war guy, definitely one of the reasons to consider jumping on the waitlist, to be honest, because I know when I was looking for alliances back in the day, I was just fed up of the disappointing wars, defeats with people missing flags, just the laziness, the stuff like that. God, since I've been Wolves leader, I don't think we've missed a flag ever. So, it's a great, great accomplishment. But we're going to move it to the end. And we're going to finish up really with, so for people watching Whoo, what do they need to be a part of Dragons? What sort of player are you looking for, and what would be the right fit for someone out there looking to join a waitlist or in the future be a part of Dragons of the North?
Look, if we want to look at expectations for Dragons, I think for any alliance that's in top 100, top 50 or top 20, you need to have a certain level of troops, at least, and that would have to be mana troops. That's one of the things that I was referring to in the past when I didn't know that crit troops weren't as effective. So, it takes a while to build those mana troops, but they're really crucial. That being said, if we would say that our level is at 23 rainbow mana troops, I have players that don't have that, and they are still performing beautifully. And that's because they know their roster. So even though we may have a set level, there are still opportunities for people to come into Dragons and to grow with us. So I think for Dragons, you need to have someone who is going to be competitive, needs to be a communicator, at least with me, doesn't have to always be in the chat, needs to be an absolute team player. That's really crucial, and just enjoys the game. Like I always say that to my players, above all else, just enjoy the game. Be, driven to really want to achieve and continue to maintain top 10. Like that's the goal now. Like I remember 2 months ago, I was saying, righto guys, let's just consolidate top 100. And it's like, oh, okay, that's done. Let's keep going. So a player that would like to come and join us would need to have a pretty strong roster. A lot of our players now have 25 plus 5 stars, and there's always an opportunity to learn and grow. And if someone's willing to be part of that, we're happy to have them.
And I do have the ad up on the vid, so that information is out there for everyone who is interested. And of course, Woo's line ID is on there as well. So feel free, guys, to hit her up if you have any questions, or if it's definitely something you are looking to do or move in the future. And she will gladly assist you with that. And I'm sure, we're going to end it on, I'm sure a lot of your current Dragons are watching this. Do you have a message for them on how they get to remain at Dragons?
Oh, my players at Dragons, we're a team. It's always a difficult situation when we have someone that needs to move out or move on. We put so much time as leadership and even as players supporting players in building relationship. And it's always tough when someone has to go out for one thing or another. And I always try very hard to get people back in when they want to come in. I just, I would not be anywhere without my team. And my team includes all players. And I just appreciate everything that everybody brings. And I just would like to thank you, Ronan, for the opportunity to enjoy this ride with Northern family and with my Dragons.
It's definitely been a hoot, I can tell you that. It's been a roller coaster, but it's been a lot of fun, and I certainly have enjoyed it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here right now. But anyway, guys, we are going to leave it at that. I'd like to thank Whoo for coming on and just speaking a little bit about Dragons, a little bit about the history, and a little bit about the future, you could say. Like I always say, guys, please like and subscribe. If you are interested, you've got Whoo's line ID on there, you've got mine. Hit us up. We will respond as soon as we can. We are both very active online, and we will answer any questions you have for us. I wish you guys all the best. Whoo, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Ronan.
And I'll see everyone later. Thank you, guys.